On March 18, 1980, John Favara was driving home from work when he accidentally struck his neighbor's child who was playing in the street. This was especially troubling for Favara because his neighbor was infamous mob boss John Gotti. So, how did the crime lord react to news of his son's accident? John Favara was a 51-year-old furniture warehouse manager who lived in Howard Beach, New York. He was the backyard neighbor of John Gotti. At the time, in 1980, John Gotti was a captain in the Gambino crime family, an Italian-American mafia outfit that still, to this day, dominates organized crime in New York City as one of the 5 families. Gotti later became boss of the Gambino family in 1985, thereby gaining control of one of America's most powerful crime syndicates. Frank Gotti was the second youngest of John Gotti's children with wife Victoria. On March 18, 1980, the 12-year-old was playing in the neighborhood with friends. One of these friends owned a minibike, and the children were taking turns driving it through the streets. At the same time, John Favara was driving home from work. That is when Frank Gotti dashed out onto the street and was struck by Favara's car, knocking him off the minibike and ultimately killing him. The Gotti family have published their own account of these events, alleging John Favara was drunk and speeding when he hit Frank. According to this account, Favara was so intoxicated he continued driving, dragging the boy's body 200 feet before finally being stopped by shocked and outraged neighbors. After being confronted, he belligerently asked what the child had been doing in the street without a hint of remorse. This dramatic account of the incident is somewhat contradicted by the fact that Frank's death was ruled an unavoidable accident, as he had supposedly entered the street at a blind spot, leaving no time for Favara to react. No criminal charges were filed against John Favara, which would be a gross miscarriage of justice if multiple neighbors had truly bore witness to drunken and reckless behavior at the scene of the incident. Once again, there are diverging accounts of what happened after Frank's death, with the more colourful account coming from the Gotti family. John Favara supposedly made no attempt to apologise for his actions and continued to act as if the whole incident didn't bother him in the slightest. He never had his car repaired or even cleaned of the blood. A few days after Frank's funeral, his grieving mother Victoria was disturbed by loud music and laughter coming from Favara's backyard. As she approached to confront the man who had killed her son, Favara met her with a smug smile, before her husband John retrieved her and brought her back to the house, narrowly avoiding an incident. After John Gotti had gone to sleep, Victoria returned to the Favara household with a baseball bat and began striking Favara's car. Favara came out of his house cursing Victoria, at which point she swung the bat at him multiple times, but missed each time. She returned home before the police were called. Other accounts follow the thread of Frank's death being a genuine accident and have John Favara receiving death threats in the following weeks. The baseball bat also features in these accounts. John Favara had supposedly attempted to visit the Gotti household to apologize and offer his condolences. Upon arrival, he was attacked by a bat-wielding Victoria Gotti, after which he was treated at a local hospital, although he refused to press charges. Following this, Favara and his wife considered moving with their 2 sons out of Howard Beach, recognizing the danger posed by the Gotti family. Time was not on their side, however. 2 months after Frank's death, the Gottis departed for a vacation in Florida. 3 days later, John Favara disappeared. Eyewitnesses claim a van pulled up alongside him near his place of work and men beat him before hastily dragging him into the van. Rumors circulate over what exactly was done to Favara after this. Some say he was simply killed, others say he endured a more grisly fate before his demise. The public may never know for sure exactly what happened, but John Favara was never seen again. His wife, who had moved away with their 2 sons shortly after, had Favara declared dead in absentia 3 years later. John Gotti was an immediate suspect in the disappearance. When questioned by police, Gotti claimed to know nothing about it, pointing out that he had been in Florida at the time and saying, "I'm not sorry the guy's missing. I wouldn't be sorry if the guy turned up dead." Although Favara's remains have never been found, details emerged decades later in allegations made in court. In a 2008 case against Charles Carniglia, a hitman for the Gambino family, prosecutors alleged John Gotti had ordered Favara's execution for killing his son, and Carniglia had carried it out before dissolving Favara's remains in acid. This information came from informants in the Gambino family, although it was never proven or disproven, as Carniglia was not on trial for Favara's murder. His case ended with convictions for 4 other murders amongst other crimes, and he is still imprisoned to this day. No one has ever been charged in relation to John Favara's disappearance. After the 4 remaining Gotti children grew up and started families of their own, they each named a son Frank in honor of their brother. His older sister Victoria published a book about life in the family, in which the depiction of John Favara as a heartless child killer appears. The account of a civilian terrorizing and antagonizing the family of a mafia captain is questionable, although the alternative, that being that Favara was an innocent man in an unavoidable accident, would be a fairly grim event considering how he spent his last moments. Whatever the case, that day in 1980 marks tragedy for 2 grieving families that left behind a son and brother, a husband and father,